Hello and welcome to the Success Stories podcast, right? This is Umang Ratani, your host, and I'm welcoming today a young and very enthusiastic entrepreneur, Adis, right? Adis is basically 19-year-old studying in mechanical engineering in ULC London, right? He's basically fond of playing badminton, cricket, just to have some kind of work-related distraction, right? Also, Adis is basically a Twitter influencer. There are so many people who follows Adis and who are basically inspired by the work that Adis is doing, right? So basically, he's a Twitter influencer as well as he's working for building a community. So I would like to welcome Adis into our show. Welcome, Adis. How are you?
Hi there, Umang. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Super glad to be here. It's a pleasure. And I'm super excited for this conversation. I've seen you around on Twitter as well. And I just can't wait for the conversation.
So Adis, tell us about yourself, like what you are doing, how you are doing, and how's the life going on?
Yeah, sure. So I'm basically, as Umang said, I'm a 19-year-old. I'm studying mechanical engineering first year at UCL in London. And my Twitter journey, it began after I started my mechanical engineering degree. So what I post on Twitter isn't super related to what I'm studying, but it is definitely one of my, interests that I'm exploring. And I started about 9-10 months ago, just, lurking around on Twitter, not knowing what to do. But I was following some influencers like, Bollywood stars and Hollywood stars. And I was using Twitter in the entire opposite way that I am right now.
Okay.
But I'm glad I went through that journey because I quickly realized, it's a waste of time rather than a good use of time. And I wasn't producing work, I was consuming content, right? And, a month later, a month of lurking, I realized that it was actually draining energy out of me. So I try to just flip that on its head and try to actually produce content, just, putting out tweets, and then realized it wasn't getting anywhere. Started building relationships, just, whatever my gut feeling was, starting making friends. And just that consistency and that drive to make friends on Twitter has fortunately allowed me to be in this position where I'm able to come on your podcast today.
Okay. So what was that turning point where you changed from consuming the content, consuming to creating the content? Like what was that epiphany moment that where you thought about let's now create the content?
Lovely question. So I've always been kind of considerate of where my time is going. That's I've been following a lot of productivity YouTubers and all that hustle culture, and
Yes.
I've tried to become more intentional with my time. Correct. And when I realized that, as I said, that this Twitter usage is actually draining my energy, that's when I realized. That's when I just one day I sat down and I was like, okay, Adit, if we're spending time on this application or on the internet, might as well do what these guys are doing. Maybe not what Bollywood stars are doing, but what maybe Jack Butcher or like Julian Shapiro or what they're doing, trying to, just share their knowledge and kind of build an audience from there. I never knew that it would become this big and I would be this motivated to carry on. But I'm glad I started, and I'm sure that whoever starts, maybe, 4 months down the line, they will be glad that they started as well.
So our user and everyone would be happy to know that Ari just clicked the 10,000 mark yesterday. Is it yesterday or a day before yesterday?
Yeah, just yesterday. Yeah, so yesterday I hit the 10,000 mark, which is just phenomenal. Like when your numbers go, instead of going up in units, now it goes up in hundreds. So and just crazy to think about. Super glad, super grateful.
So Adit, tell me, what is your definition of success? Like there are many people who are finding way to succeed, right? So what is your definition of success?
Yeah, great question. So as you said, different people have different definitions of success. So some people it might be monetary, some people it might be like, just happiness, satisfaction. So my definition of success is rather, as I'm still quite young, I haven't probably discovered and explored the world as a lot of
people now.
Yeah, that's really nice to hear for sure. But so my definition of success right now is I don't know. I think I'd like to think I'm quite mature, but maybe not. And I think when I devise a plan, when I sit down, like a day or two or a weekend, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to achieve in 1 month. This is what I want to achieve in the next 2 weeks. And if I'm able to pull that off, something small like that, some like a short-term goal of 2 months or a long-term goal of like 5 years, if something like that I'm able to pull off, I think that is my definition of success. So it's still quite short term. I've got some long term goals regarding Twitter, regarding physique, regarding mental health and money. Um, but right now, because I haven't probably lived that long enough, I don't know if I'm able to reach those successes and if that's actually what I want. But right now, for sure, it's like I sit down, I devise a plan. This is what I want to achieve in the next 2 months regarding my Twitter, regarding my relationships. And if I'm able to pull that off, that is when I'm like, okay, now I'm happy, now I'm successful, now I planned this well. Like I'm a good planner, like that.
Okay, so it means like setting goals and then working toward those goals and achieving those goals.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it for sure. Like yeah, I mean there's a lovely thought, rather I can't remember the quote right now, but there's a thought that don't go for goals, but go for build consistent habits that will reach those goals. So exactly
So
when I
James
talk about
Clear
that
says that.
planning.
James Clear says
Yeah,
that. He says that
I mean
the
he's got.
goals are overrated and the systems and the processes to achieve those goals are underrated.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's what I've been trying to implement in my thought process.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Adit, you are working for building community, and you write in Twitter also that you are basically passionate about building the community. So, how the community building can help the young entrepreneurs, or why community building is so important according to you?
Yeah, 100%. So I think I used to have this in my bio. I used to have audience building in my bios, building an audience, monetizing them, and you see this all around the place. So I think something that is going to get you and your audience closer is going to be that community feeling that you have, that quick feedback loop that you have. So community building in my right now that I can think about, it has two main benefits. One is that tight feedback loop. Like right now, I don't have a startup. I don't have I have a free product. I don't have a paid product. But I know some people that do have a paid product. They reach out to me because I'm part of the community. I follow them. They're good friends. So they reach out to me saying, yo, would you like to, test out my product? Would you like to? And that's it goes without saying that I would have to, provide some feedback, help them grow the product. Or so that tight feedback loop is point number one. That really helps with community building because you have that connection with them. Number two is obviously you'd be able to monetize sometime down the future. I see a lot of people doing it wrong. I see a lot of people doing it correctly as well. So Julian Shapiro, he's one of my, at Julian on Twitter, right?
Yeah,
so he's one of my inspirations, and I've seen him. I mean, I've been here for like 9 months, but I've seen him. I've heard that he's been tweeting for a long time and providing value for free for such a long time, and only now has he started monetizing. He's actually running his first cohort in about 15 days, or like a cohort-based course in about 15-20 days. So that's the first, money he's making. I'm sure he's made some money through his startups and through his businesses, but through his Twitter account, it's all just value for free. So again, this community building aspect comes to number one, which is a tight feedback loop. And number two, you can monetize further down the line. Now that, it's your opinion, it's your preference when you want to do that, but that's a potential option.
So now I would like to ask you something that everyone wants to know. What is the secret of building the community and reaching to 10,000 in these 9 months? Like we want to know your secret.
Yeah. I mean, this is like kind of a shameless plug, but basically you can follow me on Twitter. I share everything I know for free. And that's exactly how I grew from 0 to 10,000 followers in like about 9 months. But if you were to ask me for like, 1 or 2 solid tips, it's a lot of time. I have dedicated a lot of time, and I completely understand that, being a student, not having a full-time job, I have a full-time study, but I don't have a full-time job. I understand that I probably have more time than the average person, that's slightly older than me. So a lot of time I've invested in this for sure. And rather than, early on, at least, rather than investing in my content, I was investing in people, investing in DMs, Zoom calls. There were so many Zoom calls that I went on. And the great benefit about that is as I grow, those people grow as well. So then we just connect. Then it's not like constantly giving shout outs and constantly just like, helping each other grow, but they are there for you. You can bounce ideas off of them. You can simple things as retweeting, things as just helping out whenever needed, So those two things. I invested a lot of time, obviously, which I'm sure your entire audience understands, because they're super smart. And number two is investing in relationships, investing in DMs rather than your content, at least early on. Now I think I can double down on my content, start writing threads. But for sure, from 0 to 5,000, it was like getting on Zoom calls, getting to know people, getting that personal touch that was like kind of necessary during the COVID pandemic and in the online Twitter world,
So true, so true. So that's where I want to tell everyone who's listening right now that you need to give time. I've seen many people coming to the social media, giving their little bit of time and then getting frustrated that I'm not getting numbers. First of all, they're running after the numbers. And second, they are not building the relationship. As Aadit rightly said, that you need to build a relationship. You need to comment, you need to DM, you need to work for appreciating the others. And that's where it works, right, Aadit?
Lovely. Yeah, that's superbly said. I'd just like to maybe give a slight anecdote, if you don't mind, just about this.
Exactly.
So there's someone who was at like maybe 200, 300 followers while I was at 6,000. They reached out to me, and just simple message that I wouldn't say I get like super often, but I get quite often. I get like, hi, thank you so much for your content. I love your content. Just followed you. Like very nice, appreciative message. I obviously reply to those because I want to, again, as I said, want to be conversational. And this person reached out to me and they were like, please let me know if I can help you out in any way, like if I can provide value in any way. That was the first time someone reached out to me and said, please let me know if I can help you.
I can help you too.
There are so many people that reach out saying like, check out my tweet, check out my thread. Please give me some feedback, like I would love to. I'm telling you right now, I would love to give you feedback. I would love to give everyone feedback, but it's not just like physically possible, like in the constraint of time that I have, and we all have different commitments, right? But this person for the first time was like, I'd love to help you out in any way. So I was like, okay, that moment I decided I want to get on a call. He was my age as well, so he's like I think 1920, and he's 1920, and we just thought we'd have a good chat, we'd have fun. So I reached out to him saying like, yo, please, can we have a chat? I'd love to, connect, love to just like bounce ideas and stuff. And turns out he has a decent YouTube channel, like 500,000 subscribers or something like that. And super smart, super giving, like we build a genuine connection. And even now, like he's not super big on Twitter, but I love hanging out with him. We have chats every 2 weeks, I think. So it's not about, as you rightly said, like literally 2 minutes ago, you were like, a lot of people are chasing numbers. A lot of people so it's not always that I go for, oh, this person has a high follower count, so let's get on a chat with him. Let's go. I try to look behind the profile. And when someone reached out to me saying like, wow, I'd love to help you out, I'm like, I have to get on a call with you.
So Aadit basically clarified a very important thing here, that you need to give value first. Anywhere, if you give, so there's a saying like givers get. Like if you give first, you'll always get. Like you receive what you give. And that's the theory I think is working in everywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly that.
So now I have a very typical question where I would like to ask you that, what if you suddenly lose everything? Like Twitter account is banned or something, like you lose all the followers and you have to start from zero. So what would you do? Like what other things you will do and what you would suggest other people to do when something like that happens?
Yeah. So exactly, this comes back to what we had said earlier, slightly like, I feel like, and I'm sure a lot of my Twitter friends would agree that I've built strong enough relationships that if something like this would happen, it wouldn't take me as long to get to 10K basically. Like it would take me time. It's not like instant, in one day we've got to 10K, but it would, instead of taking 9 months, it would have maybe take 1 or 2 months, or maybe half the time, 4 months, right? Because of the relationships, because of like kind of the establishment. Not everyone would remember me. I'm not saying that like influencer, I actually don't like this word, but because of the relationships.
Let's inspiration.
Lovely. Yeah. So I mean, so it wouldn't take me as long, but I would probably do what I did right now. Again, get into the DMs. It's just the first couple of months that went kind of wasted because I didn't know exactly what to do. So those would be saved, but I would exactly go through what I did, build in public, go out and build relationships, go with the intention of just like meeting interesting people and like having sick conversations with them.
Wonderful. So basically you are focusing more and more on building relationships and not taking social media as just another platform, but rather than having the conversation and the healthy conversation with people, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are incredible amount of platforms that you can, just go to build an audience. Go to Instagram if you want to build an audience. If you don't want to DM anyone, go to TikTok, just post videos. Twitter is somewhere where you have access to everyone through DMs. Like only yesterday, I DM'd Sahil Bloom. Have you heard of him?
Yes.
Sahil Bloom, yeah. So he's like 200,000 followers. This is my first time I was DMing him. I think he replied in under 5 minutes. So
Wow.
Twitter is one of those places that um, that you have access to so many people, so many interesting minds and interesting thinkers that you can't even imagine. So this is one place where I'm not just here to build an audience, but rather build relationships, just talk to people, as you said.
Wow. Wonderful. So Adit, tell me, there are many young entrepreneurs like you, like 18 years, 19 years, right? Like 20 years, in their early 20s, and they want to start, right? So what is your advice to them? Like, what are the skills they should have, or how they should work? Not only with respect to Twitter, but in general, how would you suggest them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean there are many people way smarter than me and way younger than me as well. I see some like 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds like on Twitter just crushing it, just doing amazing things. Um, but if I were to give some advice, it would probably be just like give it time and make sure to give it consistency, because as you said, that age group that we're targeting right now, 18 to 21, we probably have more time than some older people right now. So we should definitely use that time, that energy that we have to put in more reps. So I'm not saying go all in on day one and then day two, day three, you're like, oh, this did work out. So put in the consistency. So only a few days ago I was watching this interview by He, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and with Dickie Bush. So over there, He just told Dickie, just like, for the next 52 weeks, for the next year, just write one newsletter, one like article every single week, and just like watch it change your life, right? So again, it comes to the consistency. If basically what I'm trying to say is, if I can do it, I'm no one special. Basically, I'm no one special. So any 18 to 21, anyone can do it. Doesn't have to be that age range. As long as you put the reps in, as long as you're providing consistent value in any way possible, it should be all good, and you're setting yourself up for success on Twitter and beyond.
Wow, wonderful. So basically, if I would have a little summarization, it's like, give your time, put up the consistency, come every day, like do something, engage with people, engage more and more, build relationship, build community, and then keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't stop when things aren't working out, because in the middle they're always not going to work out. There's this I mean, hopefully you can put it as a visual or something, but there's this visualize value kind of quote. There's a graph where at a certain point,
this is meaningless.
This is pointless. Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Yes. I have seen that.
And then after
wonderful.
That
is wonderful.
Yeah. That is so true. That is so true.
So it's like those who are looking at here, it's like up to some point, there's nothing going to happen. And if you're stopping there, it's meaningless. Then it will start scaling, and you have to work till the time it starts scaling.
Exactly right.
So Adit, it was wonderful talking with you. It was amazing. Thank you for giving your time, and thank you for giving a valuable advice to all the youngsters and all the entrepreneurs who are going to and who are basically watching it right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Umang, for this. This was a pleasure talking to you as always, and have a lovely day.
Thank you. Namaste.